When did you know Jalen was the man?
Shoot, right away.
Yeah.
When with his confidence.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not going to lie. You can have all the confidence in the world, but when you come in it's like when you come in that first whole team outing, because, when you come in as a freshman, you're like with your freshman class, and you don't really see everybody. And then when you get to your first team outing, you're like, God damn, like I just remember saying, damn, that's Najee Bradham. This dude, I'm scared as hell now, So, but Jalen never had that type of energy. Like he was him from the jump. And he definitely, whenever it did come to the ones or whomever, he would jump up, and to see that as a young cat, you like, okay, he can only get better from here.
Hey guys, it's Terrence Mann. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Noles.
Hey, what's up? This is Peter Ward, aka P-Dub, in the house. We're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by Noel Game Day. Go Live, go Noles.
Hi, this is Charlie Ward, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit. Go Noles.
This is Terrell Buckley. You're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented by Noel Game Day. No Bloody.
But perhaps better known as the greatest corner to ever step on a football field, Deion Primetime Sanders.
Great Deion Sanders, my brother. What's going on, man? I could wake up to that greeting every day, man. That was awesome.
Hello, Noles fans. This is former Seminole Derek Brooks, and you're listening to Hear the Spirit, presented to you by Noel Game Day.
James Wilder Jr. What's going on, James?
Thanks for having me on. SSOD, Florida State or Die, and go Noles.
William Bar None Floyd.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What is happening, guys? This is Logan Robinson from Hear the Spirit, presented to you by NoelGameDay.com. We are here on a wonderful Thursday. We know Nate's back because the background music, the noises, everything is back in store. With us this evening,
Life is back.
Yeah, this is just something that everybody has been waiting for. Nate, we couldn't get rid of him. We're not going to be able to get rid of him yet. Not yet. We're trying, but it ain't working.
We're weighing our options.
Yeah.
Way away, man. Way away.
We're a ways away. But with us this evening, up at the top next to me, Editor-in-Chief Dustin Lewis. We've got Austin Veazey, lead basketball writer at NoelGameDay.com, and then lead recruiting insider at NoelGameDay.com. Nate Greer. Gentlemen, how are we doing? It feels good to be back. All four of us back. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's a stressful evening because 1 hour and 52 minutes from now, Boston Celtics tip off in the NBA Finals. So I'm getting a little jittery over here, boys.
I thought you were going to say because Kenny Shaw is going to be joining us, a 2013 national champion, in about 10 or so minutes.
I'm excited for that too, of course.
Okay, making sure. Yep. Nate, how you been? We've missed you. I've been down in your area a lot, but haven't been able to see you. I've been trying really hard to see you. I have been. I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure. That just tells me, where we are on our friendship. So, when you're 20 minutes away from me, but I've been really busy at work. I thought I was going to miss this podcast with a ceiling collapse, but I was able to get it cleaned up. But,
Jesus,
it's been crazy, man. But I'm ready to get back at it. I'm sure this podcast has been awful. When you had to listen to Dustin as much as you've had to, I apologize.
We actually had a record 2 weeks.
A record.
Well, yeah, that's fine. That's too.
I can go ahead and tell you we did not. We did not. But now that you're here, hopefully the numbers will get back jumping again.
Are we setting off-season records or?
Yeah, right now I'll tell you it's pretty slow right now. So we've got some work to do. That's why we have a 2013 national champion and join us. And Kenny is set to join us in a few. Going to go hop on some Wi-Fi. So looking forward. He's been on here multiple times before, but he does have a big time camp coming up that we are going to talk about here in a few weeks that he's holding in Orlando. We're going to dive deep into that. And then I want to jump into a lot of, his career at FSU. I want to jump into some of the secrets, maybe some of the things that he didn't tell us yet, and kind of pick his brain on his time at Florida State. So that'll be a really good interview here in a few. But we got a lot of quick hitters to go over. We got a Florida State running back that entered the transfer portal just a couple of hours ago. We'll talk Chris Parson. We'll talk about Julian Armella's message that he sent out to FSU fans. And we'll talk some Ontavious Woody, you got some good topics this evening. And then to end it off, we'll talk some John Butler deciding to stay in the NBA draft, which that is definitely a hot topic right now. VZ will give us the latest on that and give us his true opinion if it was a good or bad idea. Let's jump into it right now then. As we learned earlier, Florida State running back DJ Williams, first off, was an Auburn running back transfer and joined the Florida State and Mike Norvell and David Johnson's camp there in the running back room. Ends up entering the portal today, and to me, this is not really too much of a shocker, in my opinion. Now you're losing maybe a hybrid kind of running back, wide receiver guy with Corey Wren. Now you have DJ Williams leaving the room, but it was pretty apparent, at least in this spring, that this was a guy that was probably third, if not fourth. I would say more fourth string than anything after what we saw. That room is loaded with Deshaun Ward. You got a guy like Trey Benson who comes out of nowhere from Oregon and looks fully healthy, looks like he's got a chance to be a breakout star for Florida State this upcoming season. And then you got Lawrence Toafili there too. So you kind of got your top three backs. DJ Williams kind of understands where he's at, and he's going to try to find a new home.
I think it might be even realistic to have him fourth or fifth behind CJ Campbell and even Rodney Hill, who, he flashed more in the passing game, but even his opportunities running the ball were super solid. So, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out. But he was hurt all last year, out of shape at times. So, I mean, I don't think it's a loss by any means, but it just opens the scholarship.
Yeah, and there was some hope that he could be productive for Florida State after what he did at Auburn, and obviously having those connections, playing under Kenny Dillingham when he was previously with the Tigers. And like you said, Nate, it didn't transpire. There was too much talent ahead of him, and the injuries set him back. Only 10 carries in the fall, and this spring, Trey Benson comes out of nowhere. CJ Campbell starts taking reps. Rodney Hill comes in with a very good frame for a true freshman and makes some plays. So the writing was kind of on the wall there. And despite the loss of him, I think Florida State's got to feel really comfortable with what they have at running back heading into the season. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's still a scholarship floating around if they do elevate CJ Campbell to a non-scholarship player.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you would have gotten the player that played against LSU, he had a great game. That's a different story. But no, it just doesn't work out sometimes.
But on the flip side, one transfer running back doesn't work out, and then you bring in another one in Trey Benson, who looks like he could be a potential key cog on that Florida State offense in the fall. So we'll see how that works out. You're not going to hit them all.
No. And I was going to say, too, initially you thought that was kind of like your bowling ball guy, bigger size, bigger back in that room. But now I'm sorry, DJ Williams kind of lost that size, and now you've got two big boys with Trey Benson and CJ Campbell. And then Campbell, like you said, Nate, it could possibly be your fourth guy. I mean, the depth there is so great. That's one of your strongest units going into the season. But, I mean, like you said, Rodney Hill's there. I don't think he maybe is ahead Rodney Hill's ahead of him, but still, DJ Williams is looking to transfer somewhere, and he wants to get playing time and maybe be a back of a program that, is getting more touches than he possibly was going to get this upcoming season. And it's definitely the Deshaun Ward and Trey Benson and Toafili show. And if I'm looking at goal line this past spring, Toafili was really, really impressive. And he's put on 10 pounds, and you wouldn't be able to really tell. But, Toafili looked really good in the red zone too, and that kind of hurts DJ Williams' chances because that was one of the factors that he brought and talent-wise is playing pretty well in that red zone area. So whenever you're kind of getting passed up on the depth chart, it makes sense to maybe find other places in the world.
But, I mean, he also got passed last year, though, too. So,
I didn't get to see a lot of them.
Statistically, was the 50-50 between Deshaun Ward and Deshaun Corbin on the goal line. It's either one of them.
Yeah, I mean, this room has so many playmakers anyways. This is not a major hit by any means whatsoever. I mean, I kind of think of this kind of like how it was for Jordan Young in that wide receiver room. You got a guy that has played at the college level for quite a bit of while, but, is just not going to move up in that depth chart. So wish him definitely the best of luck and wherever he intends on going. That just wasn't going to work in that running back room right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick to end it off, I believe Nate noted in his article that Williams is the 22nd scholarship player to leave Florida State since the conclusion of the 2021 season.
No, the start of.
Since the start of.
Yeah. So right before camp.
Yeah.
And, so.
A majority of those have come since, December 1st or so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just roster purge, man,
Mm-hmm. It happens. It definitely does. So wish him the best of luck. Chris Parson just received just a couple days ago, actually, an Elite 11 finals. Dustin, you were able to go up there and cover that fully. And Parson looked really good. You came away a little surprised that he didn't end up earning that offer right away, earning that really cool freaking invite to LA, which is definitely a wild trip over there. But now he earns it just a couple weeks later. What are your thoughts on that? This is a talented quarterback that's currently still committed to Florida State. There's always rumblings left and right. Now that Florida State offered 2 quarterbacks on the same day, definitely, that's a conversation there to be had. But what are your thoughts on Chris Parson earning that Elite 11 finals invite?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not a surprise based on what I was able to see out there that day in Nashville. He had a great day, and really it just came down to there was a lot of competition out there, because you look at the list now, the Elite 11's invited 15 quarterbacks. 5 of them are from that Nashville event. So really a third of your invites so far were all competing on the same day at one regional, and I expect at least another, maybe 2 more guys from that regional to get invites before it's all said and done. So Chris Parson going to have a chance to represent Florida State out in LA, and it should be an exciting time for him to go up against some of the top quarterbacks in the country. This kid's put in a ton of work throughout the offseason and been with those trainers back and forth between Dallas and Atlanta, so many times. I'm sure he's racked up the frequent flyer miles, and he's ready to put on a show, especially after not getting it in Nashville. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, excited to prove himself.
Absolutely. A guy that has caught some balls from definitely a really talented quarterback. Kenny Shaw is in the house. Definitely appreciate always Kenny coming on here and hanging out with us with the new youngin right here. The baby Shaw is here with us on the camera. Kenny, how are you doing? How's the little dude doing?
I'm good. I got somebody more legendary than me, and I'm happy. I'm happy with him every day, man. It's like a fulfilling thing that you never know until you jump in. But everything good. This little man pushing me to do a lot of stuff off the field, and I'm just thankful for the support, like from you guys and everybody else, but also just for him pushing me, being here.
Yeah, no, we got to actually see.
He chose me. They say the kids choose you.
Yep. No, we saw you too at the spring game, which we'll talk about, but you were in dad mode. You were in dad mode, leading everybody around. And first off, I want to say congratulations. I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into, why we wanted to bring you on in the first place. And let's talk about this camp. You're doing this, another one now. This will be the second true full-on camp. And, we were there last year. And thank you again for that invite. You had a lot of good coaches on hand. I mean, it earned a lot of viral content everywhere. I mean, you had stars, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, even Telvin Smith later on showed up too, which was just awesome to see. You had Timmy Jernigan, a lot of 2013 Noles in attendance. But first off, tell us a little bit about this camp and what some of these kids should expect in Orlando on June 12th.
Yeah, well, this camp is, I like to first it started off as just a reunion, but it turned into much more. So moving forward, I saw the bigger scope of it as, these kids want to get somewhere. So they have a bunch of guys who've been where they trying to go at a one-day camp, and you can't get that a lot of places, which I'm figuring that out outside of lacing up my cleats, getting ready for season time. So these kids, they just I don't ask for nothing but effort and attention, because it goes a long way. Nowadays these kids, they got so much to battle against with social media and the rankings, and it's a lot of stuff they battle, NILs, and at the end of the day, if they just listen to what we kind of saying to them, we're not trying to steer them the wrong way by any chance. So this camp is fun. A couple of people on my team, they told me last year, because I was so anxious, and what I do in the off time with developing receivers is more serious and gritty. So this one is more fun. They have to constantly remind me, like, hey man, just chill, have fun and relax and float. So this one I'm gonna continue and always have fun at these 1 day camp type things.
The show out there was awesome. It was fun to watch all the people in attendance. It was not only FSU players. You looked at your relationship with Dak Prescott too, and this was true on coaching that you were giving some of these young guys, and that was something really cool to see. We can't ever miss Carlos Williams. We'll never miss Los's name on here. We can't miss him, or he's going to give us a hard time. But Los, you see that with him too. You're bringing in some guys that can dial in on some of these young kids and really give them some hard coaching. You had James Wilder Jr. too. I mean, these are some guys that really dial in and help out the coaching and the training, and I think it just fits perfectly. And like you said, it was kind of a reunion for y'all, but for that to also coincide and work with younger players and guys that dream to be to where y'all were at one point and still are is something that's really special, I think, that you put together.
No, definitely. And, it can only go up from here, as far as just the level and who will come on board, because, at the end of the day, this football world is like a deep fraternity, and it can be sometimes guys who I never met before, but they disrespect the mission of it, and it's a connection right there. So I'm just trying to show these kids, there's an opportunity to get out of their circumstances, whatever that is, and just see the bigger picture of it around these type of guys who got different upbringings from them. They got different upbringings from myself. It's a whole different scope of things.
And you've held a couple of these camps since the first one in April of last year. So just what is it that makes you so passionate about wanting to give back to the youth and helping them improve their skills at a young level?
Well, I mean, everything starts somewhere. I kind of pieced together a little bit how I was brought up, started in home. I had a strong mother who, she always harped that if you want it, you got to work hard for it. And, coming off of potentially hanging up the cleats for good, that's kind of the grind that I've been in. And I was just trying to get into a space where I'm closer to football, but not too far away, if that makes sense, because that's an adjustment that a lot of ball players they get uncomfortable talking about, is when that time is coming to an end. And my decision is more so steered towards my baby boy. Like, I don't think I can be away from 6 to 8 months out of the year, So why not tackle the youth in all aspects, whether it's mental health, the health and wellness, education, just all. It's so many factors that goes into even just making it. And, I would feel like a shitty person if I didn't give back what I know or what I can provide for them through connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to, whenever you're talking about these guests and these guest coaches, who do you have lined up for right now? I saw the post from early on Instagram, but
I got
what we got?
I got some more to post, but, I got Ike Taylor. I'm gonna name the OGs. I got Ike Taylor. Me and P Dub been in contact. We was just golfing in Tampa the other week for the booster golf thing. So him and D Brooks might be on board. Ooh. I got sure Snoop Minnis locked in. Vince Williams, another Carlos Williams. That's what made me think about it. Telvin's coming.
Wow.
Jameis, PJ, Terrence Brooks, Chris Rainey, Lance Leggett. I got a whole list. I had to give the camp guy the list because that's out of my area. It'd be too much. I'm starting to get good with technology, so I just added a note and shared it to him, and he goes and do what he do with the flyers and stuff like that. So it's over 30, and I'm just, if one or two guys come, I'm happy with that. So I'm just thankful that I got the love from my either former teammates or whatever the case may be, that they can come back and give an example to my city.
I was going to say a lot of your former teammates and those that you trained with before going into the NFL, and a lot of these guys, it feels like, and go back into your days at Florida State, you built a really good bond with these players. You don't see this a lot where guys are traveling, where they're training right now, getting ready for the NFL, CFL, whichever opportunity. A lot of these guys, you don't see that nowadays a ton, going and traveling, definitely off of their own, scheduling plans to leave what they're doing and come to you. What makes that, what makes it have those relationships with them? What do you think it is about maybe you and there's just something about you that, they really like being around you?
I don't even know what to tell you. I'm a modest dude. I just like to think that they like me in a sense, but, I just, I always carry myself to just be like, I try and be authentic, like at the end of the day, if we have the same mission, we're going to lock in or we don't, and that goes into the business world and that goes into on the field. And, I tackle those two things when I am in this business world is, if we same mission and we see eye to eye, then what do I have to hide? And we should have a good connection. So, I tell these kids all the time, like, just be nice to people. You never know what's going to come out of it. That teammate you bullying in middle school might be, the head doctor that you need one day. You never know. So I just like to always think that you should treat everybody accordingly and just at least try and empathize. It's not the easiest thing. Like, I'm still working on it, but, it's
true.
Hey, Kenny, what's up, man? It's Nate. Congrats on the addition. Before you hopped off, we were kind of joking around being a parent's the best thing ever. Yeah. But congrats on that. But
thank you.
Kind of to carry over the what you just said. We're heading into summer, and summer workouts. It's a grind. Mm-hmm. And talking about the 2013 team, can you walk us through how those workouts work? I mean, did you know then, it was going to be a special year? How were those workouts? Coming off 2012, when people thought that, hey, that team could have won a title too.
Could have, we should have, man.
I know.
And I'm not even one to jump into the could have and should have, but damn, every time I think about that year, I do get haunted by the NC State loss.
Yeah.
But we gradually gain each year, and I know for sure after that Orange Bowl win, it actually started well before the summer. Like we was during voluntary workouts during the spring, we was getting together doing 7-on-7s on our own. We was our study hall attendance was up. I know that's a real statistic. When we lose or we come off a big loss, nobody going. We'll get those $10 deducted.
Yeah.
But we're just knocking all the right steps towards winning, and that was just more so. We're just becoming young men who we were starting to understand accountability. So we grinded. We didn't need the coaches to push us really to get to where we needed to be. We just needed a system, and once we bought into it, it was, as you see, it was nobody who was coming our way.
What do you think, really? Do you think that was from a lot of the leaders? Los is always on here talking about the leadership that you guys had. A lot of leaders with Telvin Smith, LaMarcus Joyner, you had Timmy Jernigan too. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was because of leadership and guys, they were alphas too, but you think that was all leadership and helped translate that into taking this team all the way to Pasadena across the country?
I mean, leadership can only take you so long because, sometimes you got I like to say you got fake leadership. It is a thing. And I think we just had a lot of guys buy in, including the training staff, including the fans, including everybody. And we just went. And but our main core guys, who you speaking of, we can feel like the trust factor of the team on us when we did step out in practice or wherever it was. And, when you feel that, you just have no choice but to just move accordingly. And I just remember a time where we had a non-coaches tell-all type meeting. And that was the funniest shit. It was the funniest / deepest / everything that we needed at the time. Everything was on the table. People was getting snitched on about bringing girls in late. People was getting snitched on about, being fake leaders. It was what we needed. And, from that point on, it was just like, at the end of the day, nobody perfect. But, if we do want this, let's just lock in for these, 3-4 months and see what happens.
So I wanted to ask you about the quarterback situation, because going into that year, Jameis wasn't guaranteed to start. There was a competition between him and Jacob Coker, and from all reports, it was a very close competition. But from your viewpoint, how did you see that competition go throughout fall camp, and just what do you think about that and Jameis eventually being named the starter?
Was it bogus bullshit is what we're asking. Was it bogus bullshit about it being a close race?
Pretty much.
Jimbo was saying.
I mean, the guy, he got some arm and he gets it done. Jacob Coker, he got a pretty good resume, and it was one of those things where, I know for sure as a group of receivers, we was told we're going to be flopping with both. So when you're out there, both of them are number ones, so we was just giving them our best so they can show their best. So, at the end of the day, when we had to vote, it did come down to vote. It was, we just chose it based off, just everything all in total. And, nothing against Jacob, because that's my dude, but it was just, everything happened like it did for a reason. And, that's how it went. And, if you do look back on it, we are 2013 national champions at the end of the day.
Yeah, so that was a true on vote thing between the players, maybe.
Yeah, players, seniors, more so, and it wasn't a thing where it was like he didn't know that it was being voted on or whatnot. It was one of those things where he was full aware of the decision that was going to be made, because that's not how our coaching staff operated at that time. They was more upfront. I don't know how they are now, but they was very blunt, and that's something that I always said, that I'm always, once I did get into coaching in my life, that I will always kind of keep under my belt.
Yeah, I had a follow-up question to that. I was super close to a coach at that time who told me kind of, Coker was really good in practice. Jameis would sometimes slack off and not take it seriously, and that, Jimbo would kind of utilize that to motivate Jameis.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so, Jacob was a good quarterback and FSU could have still won with him, but it was more motivation for Jameis. So you think it was a real contest and not a ploy by Fisher to keep Jameis dialed in?
I don't fully know what goes on in the office. Sometimes it's like we know things, but we don't know the full tea of it. So I personally feel that it was a damn good competition, and the best man at the end of the day got the job. And best man doesn't always come with just the best throws or the best versions. Sometimes the best man is who can gather up that tribe and go. It's a different energy. And I just remember the kid from the NC State game. He was so fired up, and he was only a red shirt, and I kind of knew he was going to be a special one.
No, we saw on the sidelines when Jameis was always going to be talkative and always try to be a leader, and I'm sure that's something that y'all saw, heading into that 2013 that summer. It was funny that you say that y'all felt like something was special because that's something Los felt like too. Heading into some of those workouts, you had some guys holding each other accountable, and that's something that Florida State has lacked in for a little while. Norvell is trying to make some change here. Speaking of Norvell, you just were in Tallahassee and visited with your family and got to see, I think you got to see Mike Norvell, correct?
Yeah, I saw him in Tampa too.
Tampa.
A couple of weeks ago for the golf event.
How's that gone and getting to know him a little bit? He's trying to change the culture and everything and try to get things back on track. How's your conversations been with him?
I mean, conversations are, they're what it is, and he very passionate about about what he does. That's no question. I think he's more at ease a little bit with, and you can hear it throughout our talks and even what he says to the maybe the board members or the boosters, and it's players coaching players, and once you do have that, I'm not saying you're going to have an undefeated national championship year, but you're going to have a little bit better of a year than you did last year. And, you can put a lot on coaches at the end of the day, and being a coach / mentor is very important, and it's very pivotal for player development. But at the end of the day, you put your pads on, you do everything that other individual across from you does, and at the end of the day, it just comes with who got the biggest balls.
I think it's a good point, Kenny, that why FSU feels a little bit better this year, because there's a lot more of that over the previous few years that we've had. But you hear from even Joe Burrow talked about it, even the old heads talk about it. It's the teams that hold each other accountable that always excel. And
True.
FSU hasn't had that, and that's just what it is. They haven't had that leadership, but it seems like that this team has kind of persevered through the bullshit and have come together a little bit. I'm anxious to see.
I'm old school though, so I'm like, hey, I can see it, I can hear about it, but I'm just waiting on game one at the end of the day. And just, you know what I mean? Like, I think us all, we waiting on just game one just to see what it is.
Who did you during practices? Who did you feel like gave you the best competition on the other side of the ball?
Joyner, hands on, because I was in the slot and he was more of that nickelback. So I think that my development, just because I just remember he got his position changed that spring, and because if you think about it, LaMarcus came in the corner, and I even had my position changed from, I was doing a little bit of X, just flipping, but I was full-time slot at this point, and just getting that full-time job, me and him was battling, and it's really iron sharper iron, and that was the true definition of it for me, more so because I wasn't seeing nobody better than that whole year.
Is it true?
And no offense to anybody who guarded me that year, but that's what it is.
Is it true, Timmy Jernigan, or not Timmy? What Telvin Smith was? I would say nicely, just holding the walk-ons accountable. Was he over there bullying them?
No, man. Who told you that?
Los.
Man, no, there was no bullying going on, but we definitely, sometimes you get that heat. Sometimes get the best of you. I'm not gonna lie. That Tallahassee, hey, and if you're tired as hell and the walk on might do something, just you do get out of character. So it's, but you get out of character with going against the ones, and no, our walk-ons, man. That's why I still stay in contact with them. Like we still chop it up. Some of them agents now, and I deal with them. Our walk-ons were cool as hell, and they was a big factor on why we was winning too, because some of their ass was going hard. I just remember some of us was like, hey, chill, like, man, I'm at a long day of school. lunch and outside. Now I'm in practice. Like, chill out a little bit. But that's what we needed.
It was.
I got a question about that team. It was you, Rashad, Kelvin, and then Christian Green played the primary backup. I've always wanted to ask. I felt that having that rotation being so small helped the offense. You think that same way, or how do you look at that? That whole.
So you guys watch basketball, right? I'm big on basketball. I grew up with Kobe in, so that should tell you something. Like you see those guys when they take some time off or they get in foul trouble, they shooting percentage and groove get down, and it's like that for a reason. Football, if you're like getting benched, in and out, you don't know when you're gonna play. Your confidence low, number one, and number two, once you feel like you have the green light, then the sky's the limit. Like your confidence is through the roof. So with a small rotation, you kind of knew, and you kind of had a bigger accountability for yourself in a sense to be like it's not really on nobody but me, and definitely easier to learn the plays when you're not getting rotated. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because that was a complex offense.
I think it made the offense better. It's one of the reasons why it's one of the best in the history of college football, is because the timing was down, the mental part was there. I mean, a lot of it went into it, and I think that's one reason why you guys bonded so well with Jameis, is that you guys had it all.
Yeah, it was
down to a T.
It was a close-knit brotherhood, and that was one of the things that I get to talk to every day. Oh, you think y'all the best? You think y'all top 5? Hell yeah, I do, because what, the bond that we had on and off the field, nobody was gonna beat us. Nobody was gonna stop us. If you try and double this guy, we got 2 more, 3 more maybe. And this not talking alone. We're not even talking about our backfield either. And we didn't even mention O'Leary. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's like, pick your poison.
Goes to show you how much having a really good tight end like O'Leary was. Florida State the last couple of years hasn't had that. But that just opens up even more of a lethal threat. O'Leary was nasty.
Hey,
no gloves.
He was ox strong. That's why. Hey.
He was at the camp too. He was at the camp last year too. It was great to see him.
Hey, what was your reaction when he got hit by that bus and got up and walked away?
I'm not surprised. Like I said, I don't seen this guy wrestling anacondas. I'm not even surprised. I'm not surprised with anything that comes with no gloves or lyric.
Hey, you don't have to answer it. Is it true he was bringing the ruckus a little bit as a freshman in the clubs?
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No comment.
I don't think we was close until that senior year. Like we had a seat change. Like everybody was scrambled, and we mixed up the more so the cliques and everything in the team room, and which was a good move. And my seatmates were O'Leary. No, it was Sean McGuire, O'Leary sitting next to me, and to the left of me was Dumar. So it was a pretty good mixture, and throughout that time, which is crazy, just sitting next to him, like our bond just continued. Like, hey, what you doing after this? Oh, what you doing tonight? And it started, and then now it's like, hey, when we gonna get the babies together? Because he just had a baby.
That's good. I'm asking another one. Sorry.
Yeah.
When did you know Jalen was the man?
Shoot, right away. When with his confidence.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, you can have all the confidence in the world, but when you come in it's like when you come in that first whole team outing, because when you come in as a freshman, you're like with your freshman class, and you don't really see everybody. And then when you get to your first team outing, you're like, God damn, like Like, I just remember saying, damn, that's Nigel Bradham. This dude, I'm scared as hell now, you know? So, but Jalen never had that type of energy. Like, he was him from the jump. And he definitely, whenever it did come to the ones or whomever, he would jump up, you know? And to see that as a young cat, you like, okay, he can only get better from here.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Jameis, he's just coming off of a really, really bad injury there that ended his season last year, playing against Tampa, who, you know, I thought that was a game that he was definitely going to come away and win. Mm-hmm. How do you think his kind of mentality is? And you got to see that at FSU, and, you know, now he's coming back, and it seems like the Saints are buying all in on him, putting a lot of targets around him finally. What do you think it is about his mindset? You have a really good bond with him. He was at the camp last year, and he was really excited to see you. Got to see KB. What do you think is special about him that brings a whole team together, that gets their attention like that? What is it? It's like a special ability.
It's just, you know, when you see a guy, and like I said, sometimes this stuff happens off the field. A lot of times outside of what fans and everybody sees, like, damn, this guy can battle this and perform. He's a dude, you know. And just seeing Jameis over the years, you know, what he battled, where he came from, everybody was able to learn everybody's background, and so you quickly see that dude is he's resilient and hell. Like he's never gonna tell you that he's never gonna tell you that he can't do anything, and you don't get that much from anybody. And you see how he walk, man. The man, you see how he talk. He got confidence out this world, and that's just always been him. They call him Uncle Jay because he moves like an old confident and he always been that way. But I just knew when he went down, you know, I waited for all the texting calls to die down, and then shot him what I shot him message wise, and you know how he responded was, you know once somebody gets in the time whenever it is when they down or whatever, and they know they have support, it makes it more better to come out of it than just feeling completely alone and don't have anybody. So he got some good support background, and I just know that he knows what he potentially could have done last year. So he's on a vengeance right now.
How confident were you in that last drive in Pasadena, you know, with Jameis, and what did he tell you guys in the huddle beforehand out there on the field?
Man, this dude calmly was just like, hey, we do this every week on Thursday, which we did. We do our 2-minute runs with situations. We Jimbo had situations out there, and I just remember what we added before that game was the field goal return kick prevention, whatever, because of what Auburn did to Alabama. But other than that, man, we worked that thing every Thursday, and we worked it to perfection. So if we and look who we're going against Pruitt. So if we're winning these 2-minute drives consistently against Pruitt defense, who's gonna stop us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that seemed like y'all had a lot of confidence on that offense overall.
And it was also all our 2-minute things, but also not scripted. So defensive coaches didn't know what we were doing. Offense coaches didn't know what defense was doing. So it was put your best work out and let's see what happens. And you know, it was. We would always complain too. We'd be like, man, damn, Jimbo, man, we 11-0. Why we still practicing full fast and doing 2 minutes? But you know, it has a reasoning at the end of the day. And as you've seen with that drive, you probably, I don't think anybody had a lick of sweat on their forehead. You know,
It was weird. It was weird that whole season. You just kind of knew Jameis was going to navigate that because that's what he was doing all season. But that you're right. I mean, I think FSU fans at halftime were a little nervous because that's just something they weren't used to seeing all season. But when it came to that last drive and, the ball was given to Jameis and y'all's offense, which was putting up crazy amount of points all season, there was just some feeling where maybe you felt the most relaxed all night long, which is crazy to say. You just don't feel that much anymore in sports alone, definitely college football, and definitely not in Tallahassee right now.
Yeah, I mean, and then we always just telling each other, like, man, we ain't come this far for nothing, and I feel at the end of the day, you feel for those teams who go, 13-0, then they lose. It's like, damn, man, we worked, we did all this for what? And nobody likes second place, but that's how the cards was dealt, and I want to take it back.
How was Jimbo? When I was asking about how was Jameis. How was Jimbo going that drive?
Man,
he could be a spaz.
Jimbo, that whole game, even halftime, was the calmest he ever was. Like, this dude was probably more turned up for the Nevada game, cussing us out, than he was when we was getting our ass kicked at halftime. Like, and I think we needed to see the flip. And I tell coaches when I do little talks and clinics and stuff like that, and it sounds weird because I'm younger than a lot of coaches, is that you can't treat every kid the same. Sometimes you got to flip it up. You got to really see what works for that kid. And at the time, him coming in being Jimbo wouldn't have worked. We'd have probably folded even more. And he came in calm and said, "Just adjustments. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna change some calls up, signals. Hey, offense come over here, defense come over here." And everybody was just like, "Okay, if we don't listen to anything all year, we're gonna lock in for these next 2 hours and get the job done." And we came out a different team, definitely physically and mentally. And he was calm as shit, and it threw us off because we're like, when you're a little kid, you be waiting. You're in trouble. You just waiting on to get scoring, and you like, man, damn, here he come, and he come in calm and dapping up everybody. We like this. Like, oh, okay, like
that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And do you think that was because he knew that they're stealing signals?
Could be, and that coming outside of the game and years down the line, it was like, damn, I guess we kind of needed 30 for 30 just to get the truth of the matter.
Yeah. I mean, the game changed when those towels went up. Right or wrong?
True.
Yeah.
And
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, outside of all that, like we even if Jimbo would have came in and scolded us, we still had calm, cool and collected Coach Dawsey. So he always was our safe haven. Like he really protected us. Like, it was to the point sometimes he would be cussing out Jimbo for us. Like, don't be talking to my boys. And we used to be behind him. Like,
How mad were you didn't get 1,000 that year?
I wasn't too mad because at the end of the day, I remember doing a media thing afterwards, and a guy asked me that. He was like, you was this short of 1,000, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know, man. I got the ring though, and another reporter was like, but you did have 1,300 all-purpose, and I was like, damn, I can feel all 1,300 all-purpose. Definitely, and it's like those Debo Samuels. It's like that shit gets real taxing on the body at the end of the year. And I've never been like a numbers guy. I always kind of you feel when you're in the groove. And obviously each year it's like you look at your numbers, you like, okay, I definitely feel more confident this year. And you see the progression, and that's all you kind of want in your game. You never want to be. I never like to step on anybody's toes, like, oh, I'm the best they ever do it and this and that. And because you got guys who do that. I just like to play and work with my team. And at the end of the day, hopefully with that coming together, we just all get the big ring, and we did it. And I didn't know I was that close to 1,000, as a matter of fact, until we went to Hooters the night before. I think it was Thursday or Friday, and they had this the big three. No, they had the big three plus O'Leary, and our numbers were looking very good. I'm like, damn, we kind of balling, you know?
Yeah, I think y'all are balling pretty well.
You did all right.
Wait, what do you think here? 2018? What was that? Yeah, 2018 or 19. What was that LSU team? Was that 18?
2019.
The 2019 LSU team versus 2013 FSU team. Who you got on this? I think I know the answer, but
Dude, hey, I like us by a lot, actually. You know, we had an overall, like our team had defense, offense, special teams.
Mm-hmm.
We had it all. It wasn't just an explosive offense. We had some first rounders on defense. We had a front seven that was crazier than our offensive line was. Them goddamn fat boys were so crazy and didn't care about nothing except driving your ass back, which you don't get often with the big boys. Sometimes you're like, damn, you big as hell and this soft, like. And then you got the D lineman, man. Like, come on, man. Who was gonna get the ball off?
Yeah, I think everyone's so caught up on, Burrow and Jamar Chase and but you made a good point. That defense, I think people sleep on that defense. That defense was filthy.
And our special teams, like our numbers on special teams were top. They was top tier. Like we was ranked in the top 10 in certain categories, and it wasn't by coincidence. It was just we was very much locked in on all three phases, which that was the first thing we was trying to harp on us before the summer even came about. It was we have to be good in all three phases.
I think it very much be like the Clemson game.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone hyping up their offense with Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins and Martavis Bryant.
I've never seen a game being shown that much. Like I was, and that week we wasn't even nervous. We saw it flashing on TVs. I remember just going to Hobbit Hoagies, and as weird as this sounds, you have a lot of fans in FSU. I mean, fans in Tallahassee who aren't FSU fans, and they get shit talked to you. You be like, how do you live in this city if you don't like FSU? But it's a thing, and I just remember that week, like we were supposed to get an ass whooping, but
yeah,
vice versa.
Yeah. Oh, that one last thing, at least from me, I wanted to ask about NIL and the impact it's starting to have on college football. But going back to your time, man, you had the 300 rolling. You could see fans everywhere around Doak wearing the shirts. It was famous for a picture and everything. Can you imagine if you had that opportunity then?
Man, we would have been rocking Dion chains if we had the NIL deal back in the day. But you know what? That would have it would have probably ruined us. We probably would have been as blue collar as we was, in a sense, because that's a scary game changer. And if you're able to monitor it, that's cool. But if you're giving the whole 22 guys that, it's a professional sport at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it's made it rough, and now it's getting political, and money's now a big thing. I do agree with you though, Kenny. Back if that kind of it would have ruined maybe y'all. I don't know. Y'all had just a special bond, and when money's involved in all that kind of stuff, it makes things iffy. Y'all are just destined on one goal, and that was just winning every Saturday, and not just winning, but winning by a lot. Dominating. True. Being mean, being bullies. I mean, it just wasn't fair. Run it up. Who gives a damn?
And you know what? Nevada. You see the other side of it. It's like you pay those kids. For what the universities bring in. They deserve a little more than the cut of at least what we was getting back then. And that's the name of the game now. It's a little bit of recruiting and the NIL thing, and I just pray sometimes that the kids just get somebody around them who able to manage it and let it put them in the right place and keep them a little humble, because millions and thousands of dollars as a teenager or whatnot, your focus ain't really on football at the end of the day. But sometimes, it can be a positive thing to get that person out of their situation. So it's a whole different talk. That's a whole NILs is a whole different talk and mind thing.
How many?
Sure.
I was going to ask how. There's someone in the comments here, Mendoza on YouTube, asking Kenny about Hangman. Who was the most undefeated and who won the most Hangmans on the sideline on the whiteboard?
I saw that shit the next day. I said, man, y'all was playing Hangman. And, Jimbo didn't have no social media, but he knew every goddamn thing that happened on social media. And when I saw that, I think it was Brooks and I don't know who else. But, when I saw the Hangman, I said, hey, at the end of the day, it's like you are bored on that sideline. When you get taken out at halftime, it's like a little kid being sat down and watching kids play at the playground. You just like bored and now you so insubordinate. You'll do any goddamn thing just to entertain yourself. And that Hangman wasn't the funniest thing we done did, just sitting out at the half. But it's that's just how the year was going. It was PJ.
Yeah,
PJ and Brooks.
Yeah, who's that? The far right looking over. I can't tell. Is that 63?
I don't know who that is.
Kind of like Jalen a little bit, but I can't tell.
But look
Jalen,
at the trainer.
that might be 13.
The goddamn trainer trying to guess it too.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
that was some hilarious shit right there. I mean, that's just disrespectful, and I like it. I mean, y'all were dominant, man. I mean, it wasn't even close, but that was some funny stuff going on there. I know Los was already telling me at halftime that y'all were trying to figure out, already making plans at halftime on what the night was going to look like ahead.
Oh, definitely. That's what we look forward to. That's our bonding time. It's like, damn, man, we don't grind it all week, study hall, class, tutoring, dining because we had to report to eat for breakfast and dinner, which is. It was hard as hell, definitely in the city like Tallahassee when you like to make plans outside of what you got to do. And just, it was just a lot, but it was also, man, it's good memories. It's so much memories in that damn city. I can go on a tangent.
Recruiting wise, it was kind of FSU for a while, I don't know if you remember, you and I communicated a little bit when you were getting recruited.
What did I say?
Florida State.
Yeah. I was golfing in Lake Nona with a group called Lift Orlando, and one of the guys who on the scramble with me was an old reporter, and he pulled up a article with me and Christian Jones on the front, and he was a reporter for it, and I said, damn, you remember that shit? And the things people remember, that's why I'm asking you, like, what the hell did I say?
Yeah, I remember talking to you at Sling and Shoot at USF. It's just going back that far, but who did it come down to? I don't think anyone's ever asked you.
Shit, I'm old enough now. It was nobody else. Like, my mom forced me to take visits.
Yes.
Which I understand. She wanted me to see other programs and also just to get a free travel, and but it was nobody gonna come between the bond that I had and just Coach Dawsey was a big part of my decision making process when it came down to choosing Florida State. And because you get a lot of swindlers when it comes to that recruiting thing.
Yeah, man.
And I don't like to go on. I don't like to put names out, but it's like, certain coaches, they was promising me like, hey, I'm gonna be there till 2023 and whatnot, and they left in 2011. So it's like, you know what I mean? That's
good old Urban Meyer.
That it's shitty in a sense, but it's also it's like it's a part of the game, and it's a part of what goes on. So you just try and empathize, but you also be like, man, I'm glad I went with my judgment because, I who knows? It wasn't even no transfer portal type thing back then.
I'm pretty sure I even asked you at one point, why are you waiting? it was pretty. It's pretty obvious. You know, you go back to like Lonnie Pryor, who it was always obvious where he was going. You know, sometimes it's just you gotta wait for the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, and shit, I kind of wanted to wait till the Under Armour game too, just to put some glitz and glam on it, you know, because I did want the world to know that I was choosing Florida State. So leave me the hell alone and stop asking my parents this and that, and just I'm garnet and gold.
Yes, sir. Well, I know you got the little man too. It's dinner time, and you've been on here for 45 minutes. So I definitely always appreciate you hopping on, Kenny. Where can all the people here watching and listening, definitely if you're in the Orlando area or even around Florida, I would highly suggest going. We were able to be there throughout it all last year, and it turned out to be a phenomenal event. Where can they go to find? Yeah, bring sunscreen. Absolutely, it was a little hot. Dustin got burned. Dustin got burned to death.
Bring
Rookie mistake
in your tents, you know.
Yeah, but where can they find more information on the event that's happening on June 12th with the camp?
Oh, it's on my website, shawsraw.com. Just simple as that, shawsraw.com. Okay. And also my Instagram, kshaw81, simple again. And yeah, just those two locations is where all the info is. And June 12th, like you say, it's going to be hot. So bring sunscreen. Who got burnt?
We both got burnt.
I got burned, but Dustin got burned.
I forgot I have ears. I'll just say that.
No, that was awesome. And definitely, you know, guys like Telvin Smith, Timmy Jernigan, who, you know, I have not seen those guys in a long time. Having those guys come out, I think it just goes to show the relationship you have with them, and you know, they really love you guys. And it was awesome to see Telvin do that locker room chant that he did back in his day at FSU and brought it back and ended up going viral on every social media page. It was just turned out to be a great reunion and turned out to be an even better event for these young guys to be around some truly, really gifted, talented football players and now mentors. So congratulations on now another year, second year, man.
Thank you. Y'all lock into it, you know.
Absolutely, man. Y'all have a good one. Say hey to little man for us and say hey to the grandparents too.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Kenny.
Yep.
Kenny's always a great interview. Love having him on. And so if you guys want some more details, we'll put the link in the YouTube description for Kenny's camp that's coming up on June 12th.
You gonna get those travel plans set up, Logan?
Goodness gracious. Now hearing all these names, man, I got to go see Vince. There's Ike Taylor. I've got to figure out some kind of game plan for that. But Nate, you're in the area, so.
Yeah, June 12th.
Yep.
Yeah, nah.
What happened?
It's a Sunday, I think.
Tough. Well, maybe if I can travel some more and more, then I'll be able to go down there. But it was a great event last year. Let's go through a couple more of these quick hitters before VZ can lay it down on if John Butler made a wrong decision or not. Julian Armella, Florida State, an offensive lineman, highly talented offensive lineman coming in down from the Miami area, put out a message to Florida State fans a couple of days ago before officially arriving in Tallahassee. He starts it off by saying, "Dear FSU fans, football, and coaches, there are a couple of things I would like to get off my chest. We are going to change the culture and become victorious in the upcoming years. As a student, athlete, all of you have my word that I will raise the standard and give it all I got. Some things you're getting from me is a motherfucking dog, a teammate, family member, someone who doesn't stop grinding until the job is finished. And finally, I'm extremely excited and blessed to be a part of your family. Can't wait to start the chapter with y'all. Sincerely, Big Jew." Thought that was a pretty strong message. You don't really see that a lot from incoming freshmen, really, almost ever, really. I mean, we haven't seen that, something of this caliber. And I talked about it too whenever he ended up picking Florida State. I think you're seeing an alpha guy, but the team player, and I like it. That offensive line needs an alpha in there. They haven't had one of those in a good long while. I think FSU fans really did like this message, and he's coming in to compete. He wants to get playing time, not expected to emerge as being any kind of a starter this upcoming year, But just to have that mentality, attitude is something I think Florida State fans like to see and haven't seen in a while, maybe from a true freshman coming in.
Yeah, I think it's big. It just shows the mindset. It's nice to have a legacy recruit coming in. It's nice to have a legacy recruit coming in that has the right attitude when they're arriving on campus. And by all accounts, Julian Armella has been putting in a lot of time over the last couple of months since he signed with Florida State. He's coming into Tallahassee in great shape, and along with him, some other the rest of the 2022 class has begun to enroll. For the most part, Jarrell Powers and Kashawn Sapp are already in. Sounds like Armella is finishing things up this week, and Jalen Early should have been arriving either today or tomorrow, I believe. And we'll talk about Antavius Woody here in a second, but it's huge to have a guy coming in with that mindset for sure, because we've already seen what Norvell is doing in the locker room, flipping the culture. So just having more guys that are already have that mindset and are on board with what the coaching staff is trying to do is pretty big.
Can't wait. I mean, I think we're all just waiting for the tide to change, and it's important to get guys who are, as Kenny talked about, self-motivated, going to hold themselves accountable. So it's good hearing that you have a kid, don't care if he's a freshman or not, wants to come in and be a winner. He played for a winning program in St. Thomas. Not used to really losing, and it's a different mentality. And not saying that the kids that have come in over the last few years are losers. I'm not saying that at all, but the injection of the desire to win is exciting for me. Like you said, Dustin, it's a legacy. A guy who's been around FSU, whose dad played at Florida State, and been a lifelong fan. Seen the highs and lows. So, it's exciting. For a kid that has, his caliber of play. A guy who just plays mean, and you said it. Logan, MF dog. His motherfucking dog, and he wants to hurt you, and I'm excited for that. It's my type of football player.
Exactly. I'm about to say, and we'll talk about Antavius Woody, which me and Nate are really excited for, and some, seems like we got some good news coming. But I go to Julian Armella and the amount of offers he got. He had a lot of chances at some top tier programs that are in a way better state. Whole 180 than Florida State, Alabama. You look at LSU too, because that was really close there.
I'm still convinced he was LSU bound if they didn't make that change.
Felt like it seemed like, if Coach O was staying there, it felt like Armella was heading that direction. But he decides to pick Florida State, has multiple offers, Ohio State, Oklahoma. You've got Texas A&M, Tennessee. Ends up picking Florida State. And I like where in the statement says, he's here, things might not be right off the bat, but the culture is going to change. And that's because he is believing in Mike Norvell's process and getting things fixed around in Tallahassee.
I know. Like I agree, he was probably going to be heading to LSU, but then you also see him post a picture of him in Doak South, dressed to the nines in FSU gear. So,
well, he's got a legacy to live up to, and I mean, you look at what the teams that his dad played on when he was in his career in Tallahassee from 91 to 94, I believe. His dad has a national championship ring, and Julian's coming into a little bit of a different situation, but if this thing can keep flipping and everything goes as planned, who knows? Maybe Florida State's right there at the end of his career in Tallahassee.
Hey, William, I think that the stock market's taking care of that. The guy's lost $26 billion over the last 72 hours. So
sounds like the IRS is going to take care of that soon too.
So
yeah, Miami might be in a bad spot there.
Life Wallet is officially dead wallet.
It's dead wallet, yeah. No, yikesy.
I mean, but
Beasley wasn't a fan of that one, really. Dustin wasn't a fan.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Sorry, bro. Dead wallet gang.
I think Armella's a little bit of a case study in terms of you look at him versus Marvin Jones Jr. FSU went 50% hit one, miss one. it sucks, but it's interesting to hear, or I would love to hear what's the difference in what Armella saw versus what Jones saw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my own, notions of what led to Jones going to Georgia, but it's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a really strong message from Armella, and looking forward to, and I know Coach Atkins too. I mean, look at the stable now. We'll talk about Antavius Woody real quick, puts out a message.
Put him on defense, man. Put him on defense.
Well, first, let's get him on campus first. And It seems like there's some good rumblings about Antavius Woody arriving in Tallahassee. It's been the question marks for Dustin Hill and Woody alone, but it seems like some good things head in the direction. Woody put on his Instagram, on his story, saying June 20th enrollment date, and has a countdown for that. That puts him around the same time that summer C semester would begin. There was a lot of question marks about what kind of signing, did he even sign during early signing day, what was going on there. But it seems like Florida State might be getting one of their highly most talented guys in that class on campus, which was a big question mark a couple months ago.
I think he is probably the best interior lineman, maybe the best overall lineman. But, if he's 6'2", okay, if he was 6'4", he would be, I think, a top 75 kid. He cut his film on. He's impressive. I've liked him on defense for a minute, man. So,
oh man.
He reminds me of Jernigan. He's violent, man. He's a violent football player. I understand, the possibility of him maybe playing center, or guard, but him on defense, man. His get off, his physicality. He's got long ass arms. He's a very intriguing prospect. So, getting him on campus would be a massive W. Either side of the ball, he's going to be. I think successful for FSU, if in fact he is able to make it here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see what position he ends up at, but he'll be starting on that offensive line, and if he does, you good over there? If he does make it to campus on that June 20th date that he's teased on social media, that will mean that Florida State's got the entirety of its 2022 class making it to campus. It'll also mean that they've got 6 true freshman offensive linemen coming in, 4 that are arriving this summer. We talked about the other 3 a couple minutes ago, and that's just huge for Alex Atkins and the Florida State offense, and continuing to flip that offensive line room. We talked about the addition of Dimitri Emmanuel last week and how this unit is setting itself up for not just this fall, but also for the future with the depth that is starting to be built behind these guys. They're still about, I think, a year away from having a consistent 2 deep, but still you're seeing the signs of progress, and it's a far cry from where this unit was back in 2018 and 2019.
I'm excited for Woody.
You made a good point though too, Dustin, before we came on about, it just comes to fruition. It kind of makes sense too with, the kid that just committed to Missouri.
The JUCO.
Yeah. I think things are lining up to go in FSU's favor here. So,
me and you definitely like the way, the tenacity that this young kid plays with. I mean, this is a guy that will play all the way through probably 2 or 3 whistles. Just that kind of meanness, and you do see a vibe from Timmy Jernigan. Depends on where Coach Atkins and Odell Haggins, they can fight one another for where they put him on the side of the ball. But if everything continues to go this way, this is something he put out on his own Instagram. We're not going off of rumors here. He put this out on his Instagram, and then the countdown to his enrollment date, which is expected to be June 20th. That's a really good pickup in Florida State's favor. That is much needed. The biggest goal this whole entire offseason was getting him onto campus, and for him to get on campus and enroll him and get into the groove of things and get into some workouts. Great time for Florida State on whatever side. Odell, you want him, you can have him, or Coach Atkins.
I know Florida State's happy with that, what they got with Bishop Thomas and Daniel Lions, but I
This is
think
different
that
caliber.
this is a step up, and that's not a knock on these two guys because
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be heavy rotational possible starters down the line, but this is a different kind of animal.
This is
I just feel like there might be more of a need on the offensive line because you look at that interior defensive line, and I mean the depth there is insane. And even after this year, if you are to lose Fabian Lovett and Robert Cooper, you still got Malcolm Ray and Jarrett Jackson and Joshua Farmer right there. So it feels like that unit is set up for the future, whereas offensive line, you might be able to make a quicker impact. Plus, they just need quality bodies at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you do get Woody into the fold, and we've got the rising optimism that Dustin Hill will finally make an appearance, that still only puts Florida State at 82 of 85 scholarships, if I'm looking at it correctly. So you've still got some flexibility to fill out the roster prior to the fall. And there's a couple JUCO guys set to take official visits throughout June. A couple DBs. Now the offensive lineman is off the board. So we'll see how Florida State attacks that. And like I mentioned earlier, I still think there's a possibility that CJ Campbell gets elevated to a scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on now that DJ Williams ends up leaving and entering the transfer portal. So it opens up a number 1 jersey too, if Benson wants it, if he wants to go that route. So we'll keep an eye on it. Like you said, things are going to start picking up now. This is nice. We have things to actually talk about. It does help.
Be a lot of recruiting stuff in June.
Mm-hmm. Things are starting to heat up. Thank God. I'll tell you what, May kind of sucks, man. May kind of sucks. So
starting this weekend.
Yeah, big weekend ahead. You want to touch on that just real quickly on
real quick.
Florida State's got going on?
So we've got the elite camp on Saturday, and that's pretty much an invite-only thing where Florida State's going to be bringing in the majority of its commits in the 23 and 24 class, and they're also going to have some top prospects for those classes as well as 2025 making it as well. So basically it'll be kind of like a workout type deal in Doak with those players in attendance. And then the following day, they're set to host the mega camp where I believe 20 plus college programs are going to be in attendance and, thousands of kids over on the alumni field. That's going to be throughout I think from sun up to sundown, basically. They're going to be having sessions throughout the day, and that'll give Florida State a chance to not only evaluate some players, not everyone there is going to be an FSU caliber prospect, but with so many colleges in attendance, that's kind of to be expected. I think you've got programs from the FBS all the way to D3, if I'm not mistaken. But so Florida State will get to evaluate some prospects and then also get to continue developing coaching relationships, which, with the way Mike Norvell likes to promote guys from off the field and to assistant roles, that could play out for Florida State in the future sometimes. It's always good to have those relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might have to go hang out there with you, Dustin, this weekend.
I'm bringing the suntan lotion, man.
I was about to say, make sure we get that sunscreen for the weekend because it's going to be a busy
Austin, you'll be
one.
there too, right?
No shot.
My bad.
Oh, you just got work or something, just can't make it or something?
Yeah, I'm only 9 hours away,
Oh, so if you were here, you would definitely go, though?
No. I'm just going to use that as my primary reason, so people are like, whatever.
Oh, okay, I got you then. I got you. Okay, understandable. Speaking of VZ, and now that he's back from his nap,
I've been digging. I've been doing some research. That's it.
We're doing some research over here.
It's been a busy 24 hours for Florida State basketball, whether you want to believe it or not. I guess we'll just start off right off with it. John Butler's staying in the NBA draft. The deadline was last night at midnight. Decided to stay in the NBA draft, which I'm sure caught the average college basketball fan by surprise. But if you've been following Butler and his combine and things like that, it's really not that much of a surprise. It kind of seemed like he was leaning that way the entire time. Big blow for Florida State. Maybe not the greatest decision, at least in my eyes, for Butler. But, all it takes is one team to say, hey, we're going to take you, their pick, whatever. That's all it takes. One team. We'll see what happens. The draft's in, I think, a month. So we'll see what happens.
So I do want to say first, I did have the worst NBA draft take of all time last year when I predicted Scotty Barnes to be a bust, and then he ended up winning Rookie of the Year. But I do want to say that John Butler will not be drafted. That's my prediction. So he's definitely going to be Rookie of the Year now.
Yeah, well, he's definitely going to get drafted now for sure. Absolutely.
It's tough. I mean, yeah,
I don't follow it like you. Sorry, Austin, but I question the move. You know, he had an okay freshman year and flashed some potential, but it just seems like it's a year too early.
I mean, like it's so funny going back and watching, you know, the last like 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks or so of games over the season, you know, and you know, Corey Alexander is going, man, you give this guy 2-3 years in Tallahassee, he's going to be an all-ACC type of player. Well, we got 1 season. It's interesting, you know. I think there's a chance he gets drafted. I know he met with the Spurs. I know he's met with the Grizzlies. I saw he was here in Charlotte, you know, earlier this week. I don't know if that was just connecting flight or whatever. Who knows? You know, that's a team that it's a player a lot of teams think they can develop. You know, that kind of skill set at 7'1", super mobile, super athletic. I don't say super athletic, but super mobile, quick feet, can go, you know, all over the court, guard 94 feet. I mean, that's something teams want, especially a guy that can shoot the three at 40%. You know, that's what the NBA is becoming these days. But you know, it's going to take him a few years to fully realize that potential, and it's just going to depend on the team he goes to, because a lot of teams aren't going to have the patience to develop this guy for 3 years.
Definitely going to be. I think he goes undrafted, but he gets a two-way deal in place shortly after the draft. And like you said, it's just going to take at least 2 years because he just has to build up his frame, and it takes a while to build good weight. And I think getting into an NBA strength and conditioning program is only going to help him as they tailor his diet more. But regardless, you know, there's a lot of potential, but you never know if that potential is going to be fully tapped.
It's a high risk for him, really, really high risk. You know, there's no guarantees. Most even second round draft picks only get 2-year deals. You know, every so often you'll get the Terrence Mann who got 4 years guaranteed, and Jalen Brunson I think got 3 years guaranteed. It's very rare that those second round picks get that. You have to get drafted, and you have to really show out in the summer league. And you know, can Butler do that? Maybe he had a good second scrimmage game at the combine, but we'll see. It's certainly a decision. Whether it's the right one, we'll find out in a couple of years. I don't know. I think a lot of people question it, but at the same time, you know, go get your money.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. NBA is not my world. Definitely the draft is not my world, but definitely seems a little tad too early. And for the factor that it hurts Florida State next season, which is already kind of in a tough potentially.
Austin, we'll get to that in a second.
Austin, if you heard this a year ago, hold on, let my dog bark. That out of Matthew Cleveland, Jalen Worley, and John Butler, you know, John Butler is the one that goes pro after 1 year. Would you believe it?
No. I mean, because if you go back and look at my preseason articles, you would see me, like, I hardly had John Butler playing this season. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought he was going to redshirt while they got his frame right. And then, you know, maybe he played towards the end of the season, and then this summer he would really develop and become that guy next year that teams really fear playing. But due to injury, he was pretty much forced to play right away because he had a lot of big guys get hurt with Malik, Naheem. You know, he's having to play a lot sooner right away. And team realized, you know, this is a guy that can switch 1 through 5, can shoot the ball pretty well, played through an ankle injury in ACC play. And, you know, the fact he played as much as he did this season surprised me. And the fact that he's entering the draft is wild compared to where we were a year ago.
And you know, have you come to the realization yet that football is officially back?
No,
that
it's
basketball
not back.
has
Go ahead. Get above 500, then we can talk about football being back. I don't want to become Miami. All right.
I want to ask you.
Damn, Beezy's coming out with the vengeance right now.
Beezy has some words after this podcast.
Wow.
Be disrespectful.
I don't know if you're gonna get those shoes, Nate. I don't know if you're gonna get that discount anymore.
Okay, I want to ask a serious question for you, Austin. Is NIL hurting Florida State? Because you look at Butler, he's not going to get drafted in the first round. You know, if he does get drafted in the second round, like you noted, it's only going to be a 2-year deal. If he gets a 2-way deal, it's only going to be I believe a couple $100,000 a year, depending on how much he's able to contribute at the NBA level. So is this transition to NIL hurting Florida State in the event that, if they did have a solid NIL program in place, maybe they could have put out an offer to Butler to keep him around for at least one more year?
I mean, it's hurting football too, if you think about it.
For sure.
There's a lot of sports at FSU that's just they're so behind on NIL right now that it's kind of struggling to keep up. I know Cameron Fletcher just signed with some NIL company a couple of days ago, and you're seeing some of the I know Polite and even John had deals with local food companies, but it's like when those are the type of NIL deals you're getting when Julian Phillips is getting
right.
$2 million from Tennessee, it's like
it's nickels and dimes,
yeah, that's tough to compete with. So I mean, potentially, I hate to say kid's all about the money at 19 years old or whatever he is, but it's certainly a thought.
This is a kind of not serious follow-up to that. But what's the difference between NIL and what these kids make in the AAU circuit? Some of these kids, are they making more money, from an Adidas camp versus, NIL?
They don't get money from AAU still. I mean, obviously they get gear and stuff. They'll get shoes.
No, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That.
The under the table stuff. I know what you're saying, but I don't know.
It's different for everybody.
Basketball's always been a little bit different than football. Football, they kind of hide the cheating, but basketball, they just don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree. There's the top prospects in basketball that there's probably some under the table stuff happening, but you look at John Butler coming out of high school. Was he a top 100 guy? Austin?
Yeah, he was 80. I can look real quick. I think he was like 83rd.
So I mean, he was decently regarded, but I don't know if he was regarded enough to be getting paid under the table.
Mm-hmm. He was 71st on 24/7. I think he was actually ahead of Worley for a little while. It's like Dustin saying for basketball with the under the table stuff now. I mean, there's not much under the table stuff now. Like there's no Rick Pitino walking with a duffel bag everywhere anymore, because there's just so many ways to hide it with NIL. So I mean, potentially, but it's whatever. I think a guy like this, I think it's just one of those cases where teams have seen in the past that Florida State can really develop NBA players in these last few years. They see a guy that has really high potential. I mean, I've been saying from the very beginning of the season, if you follow me, that I've been hearing from a lot of NBA teams that Butler has the highest NBA potential. I don't think any of us thought it would be after one season, but it's something we had heard over the course of the season that NBA scouts really like the potential of this guy. And, maybe there's a couple teams out there saying, hey, if we can convince him to come out into the draft this year, we can, use a late second round pick on him instead of, a first round pick next year. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe that's what's happened.
God dang it, I have my friggin' mic on. Oh my God, that was embarrassing.
The video was hilarious because
I'm so mad. I'm triggered. I was saying good stuff. So what does this do? We've got Mendoza asking about Baba Miller. Hopefully I did not just say his name wrong, but Baba Miller, I believe, is working out at Florida State, if I'm correct.
So Baba Miller's, this is a name that's just started popping up for a lot of college basketball fans. The guy that's played for the Real Madrid junior team, which is, that's one of the basketball powerhouses in Europe. For comparison, that's where Luka Doncic got his rising, was in the Real Madrid program. He visited Florida State last weekend, and then he just visited his Gonzaga visit this morning, and is expected to decide between the two schools, by the end of this weekend. The big thing is Gonzaga just ran out of scholarships. They got Drew Timme back, who tested NBA waters. They got Julian Strawther back, who's tested NBA waters. And then they just got a commitment from Malachi Smith, one of the best transfers in the portal from Chattanooga, a guy that averaged, I think, like 20 a game last year with Chattanooga. Tested the NBA, decided to stay in college 1 year and transfer to Gonzaga. They're out of scholarships as we stand right now. There's a rumor that they have a guy named, I'm probably going to butcher this, Martynas Arlauskas, a guy from Lithuania on roster right now who's barely played, and there's a rumor they may push him out to try and make room for Baba Miller. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do it in time, because Miller's supposed to decide in the next couple of days. Mm-hmm. I've heard really good things about his Florida State visit. Someone texted me a couple of hours ago saying Florida State stayed in contact with him ever since he got to Spokane, and even since he flew back to Spain today. That there are people around the camp that feel he's leaning towards Florida State as we stand right now. And if that happens, that's huge because that's a guy that's slides right in that John Butler role. They're kind of similar players as these long, lanky forwards. Obviously, Butler's a little bit taller, a little bit lankier. Miller's a little bit more polished, still raw, but a little bit more smooth as an athlete, definitely more athletic, more consistent with the ball on the floor. And as we're seeing with basketball in general right now, these European prospects just have so much hype. The NBA is being dominated by it. The three best players in the league are all Europeans, and Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic. And I think a lot of colleges are starting to see, hey, if we could start snagging a couple of these European guys that already have great fundamentals, bring them into our college culture, we might be able to really get the best out of this prospect. And I think that's what Florida State's trying to do here. That's where Gonzaga's made their living. I mean, you go back to Rui Hachimura from Japan. They would snag him and develop him to a great player. They've been doing this consistently.
I mean, honestly, I think Miller would be a better prospect than John Butler.
I think he'd be a better player right away, for sure. Butler's got the higher ceiling, at least I think, just because he's already got the shot touchdown. Miller's still developing his shot. Just me bringing up the nerdy side of myself. The ball's too low when he starts a shot. If he can start his shot a little bit higher, get a little bit quicker, that's going to help his game a lot. But great defensive versatility at 6'10". He's going to be able to guard 1 through 5, just like Butler did. If he indeed decides to come to Florida State, that's a big addition for next year's team. He may not have the experience in college basketball. And some even say, well, if he's already with Real Madrid, why would he go to college basketball? That's something I don't know the answer to because, he got bumped up to the main Real Madrid team for a game this past season because they liked his progression, the way he was moving. But he only played one game. But still, you don't see EuroLeague prospects. That's the second best league in the world. Go from EuroLeague to the ACC. You just don't see that.
I know nothing about him. Is he a wing 6'10" player, or is he? He's a wing, big guy, guy that can, get out and shoot.
No, he's a wing. He's definitely small forward, power forward type. Guy that puts the ball on the floor a lot, can run the ball in transition. He doesn't really have any low post stuff from what you can find online. But no, he's strictly a perimeter player. Very crafty with the ball though. There was one tape I saw on Twitter today where he has that Dr. J, jumps from one side of the basket, reaches under the basket, and finishes on the other side. He's a really smooth athlete for someone that's 18 years old.
Wow, 18, damn.
So what's the difference between this international prospect and the last international prospect that Florida State brought in from France that's now at Arkansas State?
People actually know who Baba Miller is. That's the big difference. And he's been in the Real Madrid circuit for I think 2 years now. This is a guy that's got real potential.
So if he's been paid by over there in Europe by Real Madrid, can he still play in college?
I've already asked a couple people that. I've asked people at FSU and a couple agents that shouldn't be any eligibility issues. From what I'm being told, and he'll be eligible for the 2022 season. At least that's now. Anything can change because it's the NCAA, and who knows what they're going to do. But should be eligible, which would be huge.
I'm just spitballing, but sounds like a guy that's maybe trying to go one and done, coming over from Real Madrid to the NCAA, and maybe seeing that he could potentially get in early at Florida State and prove himself.
Certainly a chance, especially a team like Florida State where everybody plays. And he's already used to playing, this last season with Real Madrid, he played about 19 minutes per game, only started a couple games. So he's already used to sharing the ball and sharing the court with a lot of other people. Bring him that FSU culture, kind of bring him up a little bit. I think that's huge. He didn't have the greatest showing. I think this is the one thing that people really question. He had a really bad showing at the Adidas Next Generation tournament in Belgrade a couple weeks ago. Like, he was really bad. Only 4 points per game, really bad body language, according to a couple scouts. So maybe his mind was, already let's get to college basketball. But, that's one thing people are worrying about. But, bring him to college, see what happens. I think it's a genius move from Leonard Hamilton and Coach Jones and whoever else is dealing with that recruitment.
Be a major pickup for a much needed team that's looking to try to bounce back after a pretty disappointing season last year that we all forgot about. I don't even remember that even happened, but definitely much needed in the rim. Anything else basketball rated?
I remember it, Logan, because it's next step to the return to dominance for the sport that matters.
I mean, we've still got more basketball. We got another European to talk about with
J-Ron.
Matas Buzelis, 2023 5-star. I probably butchered that name. I'm sorry. 2023 5-star. FSU just made his top 5 this morning. They announced it today. It's Florida State, Wake Forest, Carolina, Kentucky, and the G League. Really talented guy. Another long, lanky forward that can put the ball on the floor and shoot. Florida State's always gone after international guys, but now they're going after guys that have a name behind them.
Proven players, kind of more. Whereas we're not spending so much developmental wise on them. At least I feel like whenever they went international, they'd go after these big time centers that would take about 2 seasons.
That's what I was saying. No more Boris Bojanovskis and guys like that, where it takes time for them to grow into their frame. They're getting guys that already have the hype and tout behind them, and I think that's big. They're just they're growing from what they've already learned in the last decade and a half.
Mm-hmm. And that's you said what is he rated? This guy?
I know he's a 5-star.
Wow.
Let me see if I can get his. I think he's top 10, but let me.
Damn.
Let me get his actual.
Yeah, Florida State needs. I don't know. It felt a little off last year.
I mean, to be honest, Florida State's gotten its fair share of 4 and 5-stars in recent history.
Yeah.
So
he's a 7th ranked prospect on 24/7.
Okay,
pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. That would be, I think, the second highest player, and
he might be better in basketball than me. So
I would hope so.
Well, I envy Z too after some of these videos he's posting on Twitter sometimes, and it's not too hard.
I'm retired now.
The hip is shot, man.
Yeah, I'm retired.
The hip is done.
It's not even the hip now; it's the knees, man.
The that's something we'll talk outside of the show on. There's something concerning there.
This is a true story.
Your knees are hurting, and now you're on your knee. You're on your knee.
No.
Oh, you're just knee problems.
No.
Okay.
This is a true story. Another store in the mall the other day offered to play a basketball game, like our store versus their store, and they said $1,000 per person. I'm like, I can't.
Good God, $1,000 per person.
Jesus.
Try to do that?
I can't.
What are we doing here?
Man, I would need to train for a couple weeks before I put money down like that to play basketball.
I wanted to so bad, and I'm like, man, I can't.
Oh man,
these are shot.
Damn it. It's all right though.
We've been easy money.
Well, last thing I got before we head out of here is I know a 2023 wide receiver, Jerian Wallace, posted on Twitter that he has committed to Florida State. And at least from my end so far, I haven't been able to verify that commitment has been accepted. So, just we're doing some digging on that front, and we'll see how it plays out. But he was a guy that was recently offered on May 28 following an unofficial visit to Florida State. And I just don't believe at this time that they're ready to accept his commitment with the wide receivers that they're in the running for. But we'll see how it plays out.
I believe that tweet is.
Yeah. I think he deleted it.
He deleted it?
I think it's back. I think it's still on there, though. I think I saw someone in the comments.
I see it right now. So
yeah, it's still on there.
It would be bad news if they take him right now. I think Dustin in agreement there.
Yeah, and I mean we've seen it recently with there's been some guys that have tweeted out that they've been offered by Florida State where they hadn't actually been offered, like that one linebacker grad transfer. So really, in this day and age in social media, anyone can say anything. So it's our job to go out and verify that before we go ahead and report that that's a valid commitment. So we're working on that front right now.
Gotcha.
We're going to make a finals prediction?
Celtics in 6, and I'm getting out of here to go watch it. So
Warriors in 6.
You boys enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
Gotta go throw on my Warriors t-shirt.
Golden State
Yeah, Warrior.
6.
Celtics
Yeah,
by
we're-
11 tonight. So I'll see you guys next week.
Here's my actual reasoning. Well, like I know we're just BSing here. I don't think
I'm not
Boston has
BSing.
good. I don't,
I'm not BSing.
okay. I don't think Boston has enough ball handling and playmaking.
I don't think Golden State's defense is as good as the other defenses we face.
it's
I know the numbers point
good.
to it being so, but I just don't think
Marcus Smart's going to kill them, and the way he just kills that offense. And meanwhile,
We saw it in Game 7 against Miami, where he decides he just has his moments where he goes.
he had
"I'm the
wide
best
open
player."
shots.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about. I think it was either the end of second quarter, or beginning of third quarter, where he just decides I'm the best player on the court. I'm going to take every shot if I'm open or not. And they were not open. He's shooting it anyways. And I'm like,
meanwhile,
have a bad
at
stretch.
the end, shooting threes from half court.
Well, hey, Celtics are the only team in the NBA with a positive record against Golden State since 2016. And, during those years, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Al Horford, Robert Williams, they've all been playing those Warriors. So they matched up before. I think it's going to be a great series.
They haven't matched up in the playoffs.
I mean, of course, they haven't matched up in the playoffs yet, but
Different
they will
story.
tonight. And
Different
I'm
story.
feeling a Boston dub. I'm feeling pretty confident going.
Listen, man. I said that whoever won the Boston-Milwaukee series, I thought was going to win, but I don't know, man. Marcus Smart was an idiot, and I think that cost him.
Yeah, I'm glad one quarter changed your mind, but
it's not one quarter. He's always been
they still
like
won. Whenever
Barely.
Marcus Smart shoots under 10 shots, I forget what
They won because freaking Jimmy Butler decided to do a fucking wide open 3-pointer.
Did
instead
they
of
win?
Job in the lane.
Are they in the finals? Did they win?
Hey, I'm telling you why they won.
All right, Celtics in 6.
See how it feels to be a Steelers fan and how I'm always getting just degraded on every week.
You can't talk
I'm
anymore.
giving
You got
actual
Mr.
basketball
Trubisky.
reasons.
Talking
yeah,
about
I
one of the
got
best quarterbacks
I
ever.
got Lopez pulling up. So
Lopes.
Date night.
We'll see y'all next week.
Date night with Lopes. You better have that hat on.
Got the Whataburger?
He's out.
Yeah,
Actually,
he's definitely got
actually
the
out now.
Whataburger. No, he's got to go see it. I'm surprised he stayed this long. I thought he was going to leave at 8:30. So, no, I think that practically wraps up everything. We'll have a lot to talk about next week because we got a big recruiting weekend. I'm going to be out there along with Dustin. I think Maddox will be there too. So, should be.
I would like to be there.
Yeah, if only. But
I got
yeah,
collapsing roofs and a possible tropical storm.
yeah,
Fun.
yeah. No, it sounds exciting to me, honestly. We love good tropical storms here in Tallahassee and Florida alone. So, but yeah, that's going to wrap up everything. Everybody enjoy the rest of y'all's week. We will talk to you guys next Thursday. We don't know really what time yet. We're still trying to line up some more guests. We are in the works of doing that. So looking forward to having a good off season for you guys of some content. Appreciate you guys. Always, you can follow on Instagram, Noel Game Day, Twitter at the Noel Game Day. If you want to hit subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're listening right now, definitely appreciate it. So you get notified every time we release a new episode. Everybody, enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the start of the summer. Yeah, talk to you guys next Thursday. Peace.
Mama told me not to say a word. 17.5, same color t-shirt. Mama told me not to say a word. 17.5, same color